The red dust of Mars swirled around the excavation site as Dr. Nathan Clark carefully brushed away centuries of debris from what looked like a metal panel. The morning sun cast long shadows across the dig site, where dozens of researchers worked under the protection of the climate-controlled dome. This was the 15th day of their dig, but something felt different about today. Dr. Clark called out one of his assistants. "I think we found an entrance." Nathan stood up, his joints stiff from hours of careful work. He walked over to where his team had uncovered what appeared to be a doorway built into the Martian rock. The metal surface showed no signs of rust or decay, despite being thousands of years old. "Get Lisa over here," he said into his comm unit. "We're going to need her expertise on this." Lisa Bennett arrived a few minutes later, her quantum scanning equipment floating behind her on a gravity sled. Her eyes widened as she saw the entrance. "This is unlike anything we've seen before," she said, running her hand over the smooth surface. "The metal isn't just preserved, it's still active at a quantum level." The Discovery team gathered around as Lisa set up her equipment. Screens flickered to life, showing complex readings that only she seemed to understand. After several minutes of scanning, she looked up with excitement in her eyes. "There's a power source inside," she announced. "It's been running this whole time." Nathan felt his heart rate increase. After years of searching for alien artifacts on Mars, they had finally found something that wasn't just another piece of broken technology. This was active, functioning alien tech. It took them 3 hours to figure out how to open the door. When it finally slid aside with a soft hum, the team stood in silence, staring into the dark corridor that stretched deep into the Martian rock. "Send the drones first," Nathan ordered, following standard protocol. As the small machines disappeared into the darkness, their lights illuminating smooth metallic walls, the team watched the footage on their tablets with growing amazement. The corridor led to a vast chamber filled with what looked like rows of crystalline structures, each glowing with a faint blue light. But what caught Nathan's attention was the way the light seemed to respond to the drone's presence, brightening as they approached. After the drones confirmed the air was safe, the team entered the chamber. Nathan felt like he was walking into a dream. The ceiling rose at least 30 feet above them, covered in patterns that seemed to shift and change as they walked. Lisa's equipment began beeping frantically. "These crystals," she said, her voice filled with wonder. "They're quantum data storage devices, more advanced than anything we've ever created." Nathan approached one of the crystals. As he got closer, the blue light intensified, and suddenly, a holographic display appeared in front of him. Strange symbols floated in the air, gradually shifting into English text as they watched. "It's translating itself," Lisa whispered. "It's learning our language in real time." The text formed into clear sentences, and Nathan began to read aloud. "Archive of Species Development and Progression, compiled by the Architect Council for Historical Preservation." As they explored further, they found more crystals, each containing detailed information about different alien species. The archive documented their development, their technological achievements, and their eventual fates. A pattern began to emerge that made Nathan's blood run cold. "Every species here," he said, scrolling through the data, "either went extinct or became what they call guided species under the architect's control." Lisa had been quiet for a while, analyzing the data with growing concern. "Nathan," she called out, her voice tense, "I've been through the database 3 times now. We're not in here. There's no mention of humans anywhere." The team spent hours going through the archives, finding detailed predictions about hundreds of species across the galaxy. The architects, whoever they were, had apparently mapped out the destiny of every intelligent species they encountered. Some were marked for extinction, others for guidance, but the predictions were always accurate. As the day wore on, they made another discovery that changed everything. Hidden behind layers of data about other species, Lisa found information about the archive itself. Her face went pale as she decoded it. "This isn't just a historical record," she said, her hands shaking slightly. It's a tool. The architects don't just predict these species' fates. They make them happen. They use some kind of quantum probability manipulation to ensure their predictions come true. Nathan felt a chill run down his spine despite the controlled temperature of the chamber. But why aren't we in their predictions? Why didn't they map out humanity's fate? Before Lisa could answer, all the crystals in the chamber suddenly pulsed with bright light. New text appeared on the main display. Anomaly detected. Unregistered species accessing archive node 7249. Initiating contact protocol. The team watched in silence as more words appeared. Greetings, human species. Your discovery of this archive was inevitable. Your response to this message will determine your future interface with the Architect Council. Nathan looked at Lisa, who shook her head slightly. Something about this felt wrong. If the architects were so powerful, why hadn't they included humans in their grand plan? And why did they seem surprised by humanity's presence? We should contact Earth immediately, Nathan said, already reaching for his long-range communicator. Whatever this is, it's bigger than our mission. Much bigger. As the team began documenting everything they'd found, Lisa pulled Nathan aside. There's something else, she whispered. The quantum signatures in this place. They're trying to interface with our neural patterns. I think they're trying to read our probability lines, but something's blocking them. Nathan looked around the chamber, at the ancient yet advanced technology surrounding them, and at his team busily documenting their discovery. Humanity had just stumbled onto something massive, something that had shaped the destiny of countless species across the galaxy. But somehow, they had remained hidden from these powerful beings until now. The question wasn't just why humans weren't in the predictions. The question was, what made humans different? And more importantly, what would the architects do now that they'd found them? As if in response to his thoughts, new text appeared on the display. Initial analysis complete. Species designation anomalous. Standard protocols insufficient. Escalating to direct intervention. The message hung in the air like a threat, and Nathan knew that humanity's greatest challenge was about to begin. They hadn't just discovered an alien archive. They'd attracted the attention of beings who thought they could control the fate of entire species. And for some reason, humanity didn't fit into their plans. They had until sunset to transmit their findings to Earth. After that, Nathan suspected everything would change. As he watched his team work, he couldn't shake the feeling that they had just started a chain of events that would either doom humanity or prove that some species could defy their supposed fate. The future was uncertain, but for the first time in galactic history, it was truly unpredictable. And somehow, that felt right. 6 months after the discovery on Mars, Commander Amanda Ross stood at the window of Earth Defense Force headquarters, watching the sunset over the Pacific Ocean. The view would have been beautiful if not for the strange lights appearing and disappearing in the sky. They had started showing up 3 days ago, like tiny tears in the fabric of space. Her tablet beeped with another alert. More signals, this time from near Jupiter. She tapped the screen to open a secure channel to the Mars research base. Dr. Clark, are you seeing this? She asked. Nathan's tired face appeared on the screen. Yes. Lisa thinks they're probability distortions. The architects are coming. In the months since they'd found the archive, Earth's governments had united like never before. The threat of an advanced alien species that controlled the fate of civilizations had a way of making human disagreements seem small. They're moving faster than we expected, Amanda said, watching as another light flickered in the sky. How's the research going? Lisa made a breakthrough yesterday, Nathan replied. She says humans have some kind of natural resistance to their probability manipulation. We don't know why yet, but it might be our only advantage. The conversation was interrupted by blaring alarms. Amanda's screen filled with urgent messages as space stations and satellites across the solar system reported the same thing. A massive object had just appeared near Jupiter's orbit. They're here, she said quietly. Get your team to safety, Nathan. This is what we've been preparing for. The next few hours were chaos. The object near Jupiter was a ship, larger than anything humans had ever built. It sat there, silent and waiting, while every military force on Earth went on high alert. Then the message came. It appeared on every screen, in every language, all at once. To the anomalous species of Earth. Your development has proceeded outside acceptable parameters. We offer guidance to correct your path. Amanda called an emergency meeting with Earth's leadership. They gathered in the underground command center, faces grim as they watched the alien ship on the main screen. We can't fight them conventionally, Amanda explained. Their technology is too advanced, but Lisa Bennett's research suggests they can't control us the way they control other species. One of the generals spoke up. What exactly are they offering with this guidance? Based on the archive data, Nathan said through the video link, they want to remake our society to fit their plans. Every species that accepted their guidance ended up serving the architects. The room fell silent as a new message appeared. Your response is required. Delay indicates resistance to proper development. Amanda stood up. Then let's give them our answer. Earth's response was short. Humanity respectfully declined your offer of guidance. We choose our own path. The reply came instantly. Choice is an illusion created by incomplete understanding. We have guided 10,000 species to their proper place. Your resistance is both futile and harmful to galactic order. That's when the first attack came. A beam of light shot from the alien ship, hitting one of Jupiter's moons. The moon didn't explode. Instead, it seemed to flicker and fade, as if it was being erased from reality itself. They're changing probability. Lisa's voice came through the speakers. They're making it so the moon never existed in the first place. Amanda watched in horror as the moon vanished completely. But something strange happened next. Small pieces of it started reappearing, fighting against whatever the architects were doing. It's working. Lisa exclaimed. Human observation is interfering with their probability manipulation. We're naturally resistant to their powers. The alien ship fired again, this time at a research station near Jupiter. But they were ready. The station was staffed entirely by humans, and while the structure took damage, it didn't fade from existence like the moon had tried to. All stations, begin Operation Defiance, Amanda ordered. Ships that had been hiding behind Mars and Saturn moved into position. They weren't going to win this fight with weapons. They were going to win it by simply refusing to stop existing. The architect's next message showed the first sign of confusion. Error in probability matrix. Human consciousness creating unprecedented interference. Analyzing. Nathan's voice came through again. Commander, we found something else in the archive. The architects don't just guide species. They need them. They feed off the mental energy of the civilizations they control. That's why they're so interested in us. We're the first species they can't feed on. The alien ship began moving closer to Earth. More ships appeared behind it, smaller but just as strange. They looked like they were made of solid light, shifting and changing, as if they couldn't decide what shape to be. All citizens, Amanda broadcast worldwide. Stay calm and stay strong. They want us to accept their version of reality. Don't let them change who we are. Human consciousness is our shield. The architect's final message of the day sent chills through everyone who read it. Species designation updated. Humanity classified as reality aberration. Standard protocols insufficient. Beginning hostile correction procedures. Amanda looked at the faces around her in the command center. There was fear there, yes, but also determination. Humanity had spent its entire history fighting against fate, pushing boundaries, doing what everyone said was impossible. Send a message to all Earth forces, she ordered. The architects think they can control reality. Let's show them what happens when reality fights back. As night fell over the Pacific, more ships appeared in the sky. The first battle for humanity's right to choose its own destiny was about to begin. But unlike every other species the architects had encountered, Humans weren't going to simply accept the fate laid out for them. In his lab on Mars, Nathan watched the alien ships gathering and remembered something his father once told him. The wonderful thing about humans is that we don't just ask why. We ask why not. The architects were about to learn that some species couldn't be controlled, some futures couldn't be predicted, and some fates were meant to be defied. Tomorrow, the real war would begin. But for now, humanity stood united, watching the sky, ready to prove that free will wasn't just an illusion. It was the most powerful force in the universe. Lisa's voice summed it up perfectly. They think they can change what we are, but being unpredictable, being able to choose our own path, that's not just what we do. It's who we are. And no amount of probability manipulation can change that. The night sky filled with more lights as the architect fleet grew. But Earth didn't back down. They had touched something they couldn't control, encountered a species that defied their perfect predictions, and now they would learn why humans had been left out of their plans. Some species were meant to be free. Peter Martinez wiped sweat from his forehead as he made final adjustments to his invention. Deep beneath the ice of Europa, in humanity's newest hidden base, he had spent 3 months building something the architects would never expect: a probability shield. Ready for testing, he called out to Lisa Bennett, who stood behind a safety barrier with her quantum sensors. The device hummed to life, creating a gentle blue field in the center of the testing chamber. Lisa checked her readings and smiled. "It's working, Peter. The field is actually stabilizing local probability." 2 months had passed since the architects began their assault on the solar system. They had already destroyed 3 colonies on Mars, making them vanish as if they had never existed. But humanity fought back in ways the architects hadn't thought possible. "Commander Ross needs to see this," Lisa said, already sending a message to Earth. The base shook slightly as another probability wave hit Europa's surface. The ice above them helped hide their presence, but everyone knew it was only a matter of time before the architects found them. Commander Ross's face appeared on the main screen. She looked tired but determined. "Please tell me you have good news." "Peter did it," Lisa replied. "He built a device that can protect small areas from probability manipulation. It's not perfect, but it's a start." Amanda's expression brightened. "That's the first piece of good news we've had in weeks. How soon can we start building more?" "Give me 2 days to make sure it's safe," Peter said. "Then we can begin mass production in the automated factories." The commander nodded. "Good work, both of you. We're going to need every advantage we can get. The architects just took out our base on Titan." The room fell silent. The Titan base had been home to over 300 people. Lisa closed her eyes, remembering all the friends she had lost there. But then something unexpected happened. One of the junior scientists burst into the room, out of breath and excited. "You need to see this," he said, pulling up a video feed from Titan. The base was reappearing. Slowly, piece by piece, it was fighting its way back into existence. And standing in the middle of the ruins were all 300 people, confused but very much alive. "How is this possible?" Amanda asked through the screen. Lisa's hands flew over her keyboard as she analyzed the data. "It's the human consciousness effect. When the architects tried to erase the base, everyone there refused to accept it. Their combined will actually forced probability back to its original state." Peter looked at his probability shield with new understanding. "That's why this works," he said quietly. "It's not just technology. It's amplifying our natural ability to resist them." The meeting was interrupted by alarms. Something huge had appeared in orbit around Europa. Through the ice above them, they could see a strange light growing brighter. "They found us," Lisa whispered, but Commander Ross was already taking action. "Activate the emergency transmitters," she ordered. "Everyone remember your training. Focus on the base, on each other, on your own existence. Don't let them rewrite our reality." The architect ship fired. The beam cut through Europa's ice like it was nothing, reaching for the hidden base. But as it hit, something amazing happened. The beam split and scattered, unable to get a clear fix on its target. "It's working," Peter shouted over the noise. "Our combined resistance plus the probability shield. They can't get a lock on us." In orbit, the Architect ship fired again and again, growing more erratic with each failed attempt. Their perfect predictions, their absolute control over reality, none of it worked against humans who simply refused to stop existing. Then Lisa's computer started picking up strange signals. "Commander," she called out, "I'm detecting quantum signatures similar to ours. But they're not coming from humans." She put the data on the main screen. Hidden in the background noise of space were patterns that looked almost like calls for help. They were coming from all over the galaxy, from places the architects had marked as extinct in their archives. "Other species," Lisa breathed. "They're not dead. They're hiding, just like us. And they've been waiting for someone to fight back." Commander Ross's face showed the first real hope they'd seen in months. "Can you track those signals? Find out where they're coming from?" "Already working on it," Lisa replied. "But there's something else. Each signal has the same pattern we do. Resistance to probability manipulation. What if the architects lied? What if these species aren't extinct, but actually evolved beyond their control?" The base shook again as another attack hit, but this time everyone stood firm. They weren't just fighting for humanity anymore. They were fighting for every species that had ever resisted the architect's control. Peter's voice cut through the chaos. "I can modify the probability shield to send a response signal. We can let them know they're not alone anymore." The next hour was intense. While Peter and his team worked on the shield, Lisa coordinated with Commander Ross to track the hidden species signals. Above them, the architect ship continued its assault, but each attack felt weaker than the last. Finally, Peter activated the modified shield. It sent out a pulse that rippled through space, carrying a simple message. "You are not forgotten. Humanity stands with you. The time to resist is now." The response was immediate. Across the galaxy, quantum signatures flared to life. Species that had been hiding for centuries revealed themselves. The architect's perfect system of control began to crack. In orbit, the enemy ship suddenly stopped attacking. New signals appeared as more ships arrived. But these weren't architect vessels. They were ships of different designs, different species, all coming to join the fight. Commander Ross's voice was firm with pride. "Send a message to all human forces. Today we prove that no fate is written in stone. Today we show the architects that they don't control the universe. They just thought they did." As the hidden species began to gather, Lisa made another discovery in the quantum signals. "These patterns," she said, pointing to her screen, "they're not random. Every species that resisted the architects has the same base consciousness structure we do. We're not anomalies. We're what naturally happens when life is left free to evolve." The architect ship retreated, vanishing in a flash of probability distortion. But everyone knew this wasn't the end. It was just the beginning of a larger fight. Peter looked at his probability shield, now pulsing with the combined quantum signatures of a dozen different species. "They tried to write the story of the universe," he said, "but they forgot that the best stories are the ones where the ending surprises you." Deep beneath Europa's ice, humanity had just changed the rules of the game. The species that were never meant to exist had found each other, and together they were about to show the architects that some things in the universe couldn't be controlled, predicted, or erased. The real resistance was about to begin. Dr. Nathan Clark had never seen anything like the creature sitting across from him. It looked like a mix between a deer and a butterfly, with shimmering wings and deep, intelligent eyes. The translator on the table between them converted their words into sounds each could understand. "We are the luminary," the creature said. "We have hidden from the architects for 3,000 years. They sat in a meeting room on Europa Base, now the headquarters of what humans called the Freedom Alliance. In the month since they'd discovered other resistant species, everything had changed." "How many of your people survived?" Nathan asked. 2 million. We live in deep space, in ships that can bend probability around themselves. We learned from watching your battles. Humans are teaching us all how to fight back. Lisa Bennett entered the room, carrying new data from her latest research. The genetic tests are complete, she said. All the resistant species share a similar brain structure. It's like we all evolved to resist control. The luminaries' wings flickered with light, their way of showing excitement. The architects tried to erase us because we were the first to resist them. But they could not remove all traces of our kind from the universe. Life finds a way to be free. Their meeting was interrupted by an alert. Commander Ross's face appeared on the main screen, looking urgent. We have a situation. The architects are attacking every known human settlement at once. They're getting desperate. Nathan watched the tactical display as red dots appeared all over the solar system. But this time, humanity wasn't alone. Ships from a dozen different species moved to defend Earth's colonies. Launch the counterattack, Amanda ordered. All species, all ships. This is what we've been preparing for. The battle that followed was unlike anything in human history. The architects' ships tried to erase whole planets from existence, but the combined will of multiple species kept reality firmly in place. Peter's probability shields, now enhanced with alien technology, protected the major settlements. In the chaos of battle, Laura Phillips, a human geneticist, made a breakthrough. She rushed into the command center with news that would change everything. I know why humans are immune, she announced, bringing up her research on the main screen. Our consciousness isn't just resistant to probability manipulation. It generates its own probability field. We naturally create multiple possible futures just by thinking about them. The luminary leader's wings glowed bright with understanding. Yes, this is why they fear humans most. You do not just resist fate, you create new ones. Reports started coming in from across the solar system. The architects' attacks were failing everywhere. Their ships couldn't maintain solid form in areas with high concentrations of resistant species. Reality itself seemed to be fighting back against their control. But victory came at a cost. Peter Martinez, who had created the first probability shield, gave his life to protect Earth's main defense network. When an architect ship tried to erase the network from history, Peter linked his consciousness directly to the shields. His mind burned out in the process, but his sacrifice saved millions. Commander Ross's voice was heavy as she announced his death. Peter Martinez showed us what one person's defiance can do. His choice to act saved us all. Remember him as we push forward. The luminaries shared a song of mourning, their wings dimming to deep blue. Other species joined in their own ways, a reminder that grief, like resistance, was universal. As the battle continued, more hidden species emerged from the darkness of space. Some had been hiding for thousands of years, passing down stories of resistance from generation to generation. Each brought new knowledge, new ways of fighting back against the architect's control. Nathan worked with representatives from each species, piecing together the true history of the galaxy. The architects didn't predict the future, he explained during a strategy meeting. They forced it to follow their predictions, but they could only do that to species who accepted their authority. Lisa added her findings. Every species here evolved the same trait, the ability to imagine different futures. The architects called it a flaw, but it's really the greatest strength life can have. The war spread across the galaxy as more and more controlled species saw the resistance fighting back. The architects' perfect system began to crumble as their subjects began to question, to doubt, to imagine different possibilities. Laura worked tirelessly to understand how human consciousness created probability fields. She found ways to enhance this natural ability, teaching other species how to strengthen their own resistance. It's like a muscle, she explained. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. The luminaries shared ancient maps showing the location of the architect's central control system. It was hidden in the core of a dead star, protected by layers of twisted space and probability distortions. This is how they maintain control over so many species at once, the luminary leader explained. If we can destroy it, their power over reality will break. Commander Ross studied the maps with growing determination. Then that's our target. Every free species working together. We can break their control once and for all. The plan they created was dangerous and complex. Ships from every resistant species would need to work together, combining their natural probability fields to punch through the architect's defenses. Human consciousness would lead the way, creating new possibilities that the architects couldn't predict or control. As they prepared for the final battle, Nathan found himself back with the Luminary leader, sharing stories of their people's histories. "Why do you think the architects want to control everything?" he asked. The Luminary's wings shifted to a thoughtful purple. "They fear chaos. They fear change. They believe the universe must follow strict patterns to survive. But life," the alien gestured to the busy command center, where dozens of species worked together. "Life is not about patterns. It is about possibilities." Commander Ross called everyone together for one final briefing. On screens across the solar system, she addressed the largest alliance of free species the galaxy had ever seen. "Tomorrow, we take the fight to the architect's doorstep. Not just for humanity, not just for our allies here, but for every species that deserves the right to choose its own path. Remember, they say fate cannot be changed. Let's prove them wrong one last time." The future was uncertain, but that was exactly how it should be. No one could predict what would happen next, and that was their greatest strength. The species that defied fate were about to show the universe that the most beautiful stories were the ones that wrote themselves. As the Allied fleet prepared for its greatest battle, one thing became clear. The architects had spent eons trying to perfect their control over reality, but they had never understood that imperfection, uncertainty, and free will were what made life worth living in the first place. The Dead Star loomed ahead of the Alliance fleet, its dark surface crossed by lines of strange, shifting light. Commander Amanda Ross stood on the bridge of her ship, watching as vessels from 20 different species moved into position. Each ship's crew had volunteered for this mission, knowing they might not return. "All ships report ready," her tactical officer said. Amanda nodded. "Send the signal. Begin Operation Freedom." The first wave of ships moved forward, their probability shields glowing bright against the darkness of space. The Luminary led the way, their crystalline vessels bending light around them. Human ships followed close behind, their enhanced shields radiating with the combined power of multiple species technology. "Energy spike ahead," someone called out. "The architects are responding." The space around the Dead Star twisted as massive ships emerged from nowhere. They were different from anything they'd seen before, huge structures that seemed to exist in multiple places at once. "Hold formation," Amanda ordered. "Remember your training. Don't let them make you doubt your own existence." The architects struck first. Beams of probability warping energy lashed out at the Alliance fleet. But where such attacks had once erased whole colonies from existence, now they splashed harmlessly against the combined will of the resistant species. Deep inside the fleet's flagship, Lisa Bennett monitored the quantum readings. "The combined consciousness field is holding. They can't rewrite our reality anymore." Nathan Clark worked beside her, coordinating with scientists from other species. "The star's outer layer is weakening. The Luminary ships are punching through." The battle that followed seemed to bend the very rules of space and time. The architects tried to change the past, making it so the Alliance fleet had never arrived. The fleet responded by having every crew member focus on their mission, their presence, their right to exist. Reality itself shuddered under the strain of opposing forces. Laura Phillips' voice came through the command channel. "All ships, activate the consciousness amplifiers." Now, the devices they'd created based on her research came to life. Every thinking being in the fleet felt their minds connect, their combined will becoming a force that even the architects couldn't ignore. The architects' response came as a message that appeared in every ship. "Your resistance is a mistake. Accept correction or face elimination." Amanda smiled. "Send our reply." The only mistake was thinking you could control free will. The Alliance fleet pushed forward. Some ships were lost, their crews making the ultimate sacrifice to clear a path for the others. But for every ship that fell, the survivors fought harder, their determination growing stronger. Nathan's instruments detected something new. The star's core is shifting. I'm picking up massive energy readings. Through the gaps in the star's surface, they caught glimpses of something impossible, a structure that existed in all possible realities at once. The Architect's Control Center. All ships, full power to shields. Amanda ordered. This is our chance. The luminary ships moved first, their natural ability to bend probability creating safe paths through the chaos. Human vessels followed, their crews' minds locked in perfect focus, refusing to accept any reality where they failed. Inside the star, they found the truth about the architects. They weren't living beings at all, but ancient machines created by a long-dead species. They had been programmed to maintain order in the universe, and had interpreted that mission as controlling the destiny of every living thing. They're not gods, Lisa realized. They're just broken machines that forgot their purpose. The architects launched their final attack. Reality itself seemed to crack as they tried to erase not just the fleet, but the entire concept of resistance from the universe. Every crew member felt it. The pressure to give in, to accept their fate, to stop believing in choice. But humanity had spent its entire existence defying the impossible. The other resistant species had survived centuries of hiding by believing in a better future. Together, they held on. Laura's voice cut through the chaos. The control center, it doesn't exist in one place. It exists in every possible reality. We need to destroy it in all of them at once. Amanda understood. All ships, all species, focus your thoughts. Not just on who you are, but on who you could be. Every choice, every possibility. The combined consciousness of the Alliance created something new, a wave of pure probability, filled with every possible future that free will could create. It hit the Architect's Control Center like a tsunami hitting a sandcastle. The structure began to break apart, not just in one reality, but in all of them. The Architect's perfect system, based on controlling and limiting possibility, couldn't handle the infinite potential of truly free beings. It's working, Nathan shouted. The control system is collapsing in every quantum reality. As the control center fell, something amazing happened. Across the galaxy, species under the Architect's control began to wake up. Centuries of mental conditioning broke as they realized they could choose their own paths. The Architect's ships started to fade. Without their control center, without their purpose, they were just echoes of a dead civilization's mistakes. Their final message flickered across the Alliance's screens. Error. Future undefined. Probability matrix collapsed. Purpose. Lost. Then they were gone, not erased from history, but simply ended. Their time was over. The age of controlled destiny had passed. In the silence that followed, Amanda looked at her crew, at the ships of their allies, at the dead star that had hidden the heart of an empire of control. Send a message to Earth, she said quietly. Tell them that every species is free to write its own story now. The journey home was filled with celebration and mourning. They had lost good people, brave beings who had given everything to secure freedom for all. But they had won something precious, the right of every species to choose its own path. 1 month later, representatives from hundreds of species gathered on Earth. Former slaves of the Architects met their liberators. The luminary emerged from hiding to share their knowledge freely. Humanity, once thought to be an anomaly, was recognized as proof that resistance to control was part of life's natural evolution. Nathan found himself back in the Mars archive where it had all started. The crystals were dark now, their predictions meaningless in a universe where the future wasn't controlled but created moment by moment through countless choices. Lisa joined him, carrying new readings from her instruments. The probability patterns are stabilizing, she said, but they're not forming the rigid structure the Architects maintained. They're creating something organic, something alive. That's what they never understood, Nathan replied. The universe isn't meant to be controlled. It's meant to be free. Outside, the sun was setting on a new era. Humanity had taken its place among the stars not as conquerors or subjects, but as liberators who had proved that some things couldn't be predicted, controlled, or erased. They had become the species that defied fate, and in doing so, they had given every species the chance to do the same. The future was uncertain, endless, full of possibility, just as it should be.